The air in the high desert is still, broken only by the low rumble of 40 Harley engines, idling like patiently waiting beasts. This is not a ride, this is a reckoning. We are the Steel Vultures Motorcycle Club. The world sees our patches and sees trouble. They see the skull and wings and think anarchy. They don't see the promise stitched into the fiber of our loyalty, the ironclad code that keeps the worst of us tethered to a perverse kind of morality. We don't run from the law. We simply operate where the law proves useless, corrupted, or too slow. Our president, a man known only as Gravel, sits atop his machine, the sun reflecting off his shades. He is silence and granite, and when he moves, the world listens. He holds the code, and tonight, the code has issued an ultimatum. 24 hours. That is all the time the Steel Vultures have given Robert Vance. 24 hours to undo a lifetime of calculated cruelty, or face the certainty of the code's justice. Vance is not a drug dealer or a common thief. He is a landlord in the forgotten heart of Central Texas, a man who bought up entire blocks of cheap, run-down housing on the outskirts of Midland. He is a predator who wears a suit. For months, Vance has been exploiting the weakest among the oil field workers and migrant families, those with no papers, no voice, and absolutely no legal recourse. Vance's operation was simple and devastating. Charge exorbitant rent for unsafe, dilapidated shacks. When families inevitably fell behind, he didn't evict them legally. He used fear. He hired a private crew of heavily armed, off-the-books security contractors, ex-military types who delighted in intimidation. They would show up in the middle of the night, smashing windows, threatening children, and throwing entire families and their meager possessions onto the side of the road with no notice, all under the cover of a rigged local magistrate who looked the other way for a tidy sum. The law? The law saw tenants who couldn't prove residency, who couldn't afford lawyers, and who were too terrified to testify against a man with such deep pockets and such brutal muscle. The law did nothing. Our involvement started 3 days ago, miles from here. A desperate father, Juan, whose 7-year-old daughter was hospitalized with severe pneumonia, a direct result of the toxic mold in their Vance-owned shack, saw his small life destroyed. Vance's thugs had tossed him out while he was at the hospital, burning the few papers he needed to claim any legal right. Juan, beaten and broken, finally reached a local charity connected to Whisper, one of our oldest and most respected female associates. Whisper brought the story to the table, and that's where the code took over. Rule 3 of the Steel Vultures Code: we are predators, but we do not hunt the weak. We do not tolerate the abuse of the desperate, the sick, or the young. Any man who uses force and financial power to deliberately harm the innocent has declared war on the road, and the road will claim him. Gravel listened to the details: the systemic abuse, the threats against children, the outright lawlessness Vance inflicted. His response was immediate and focused. "This man is not a criminal, he's an infection," Gravel stated, his voice a low grind. "And infections must be burned out. We could have raided him immediately, but that would have been vengeance. The code demands justice that corrects the wrong, not just punishes the wrongdoer. Our first move was tactical and psychological. We didn't touch Vance directly. We touched his control. Wrench, our mechanic and tech expert, spent the night hacking into Vance's private security network. By dawn, the thugs Vance relied on found their expensive encrypted radio channels suddenly playing loud, repeating loops of children crying and coughing. Their GPS tracking systems flashed locations that were entirely wrong. Their sense of professional invincibility was shattered. Then came the message. It was delivered not via phone, but physically. A small, personalized bullet casing placed on Vance's spotless mahogany desk, left there during his morning coffee. It contained a single small scroll of paper. In stark, bold letters, the message read, "Robert Vance, your time for predation is over. 24 hours to make it right. Restore every family, return every penny stolen, or the code will ensure you disappear completely. This is the final warning." The effect was instantaneous. Vance, a man accustomed to untouchable authority, panicked. He called the police, But the patrol cars found nothing and laughed at his paranoia. He called his lawyers, who told him to wait and see. He called his thugs, who were too busy trying to fix their useless comms. The Steel Vultures didn't wait. We started the restoration. Under the guidance of our lawyer, a man who works for us because he despises corruption more than he fears us, we anonymously filed injunctions, restraining orders, and evidence of financial fraud against Vance in a different, cleaner county, tying up his legitimate assets. But the 24 hours were ticking down, and Vance, fueled by arrogance and a belief that a bunch of dirty bikers wouldn't dare cross the line of organized violence against a wealthy citizen, did the unforgivable. He doubled down. Instead of fixing the wrong, he tried to intimidate Juan's family again, sending 3 of his toughest men to the hospital to deliver a final, brutal threat. That was his mistake. That was the line the code said he could not cross. The code gives a final warning because true justice requires the guilty man to understand the consequence of his own choice. Vance chose violence against the innocent even after the code had spoken. Now, we are here, at the edge of his sprawling, secluded ranch house. The 24 hours are almost up. The engines are running low, humming a promise. We are not murderers, but we are executors of a justice the system abandoned. We are the Steel Vultures, and we are about to teach Robert Vance the difference between a warning and a death sentence. The clock is hitting 0. The ride is over. The reckoning begins. Block 02. The timer ran out exactly when the last sliver of the moon dipped behind the horizon. Total darkness. That was Gravel's signal. Vultures. Gravel's voice cut through the comms, low and clear. Remember the code. We do not kill what is merely foolish. We eliminate what is truly venomous. Vance crossed the line. No collateral. This wasn't a home invasion. It was an extraction. Robert Vance was heavily protected, relying on automated lighting, thick walls, and the handful of armed men he still trusted. But he hadn't planned for an enemy who considered his home an obstacle, not a fortress. Our approach was silent and decentralized. While Blaze, our explosives expert, used specialized EMP charges to briefly scramble the ranch's exterior surveillance cameras and floodlights, 3 separate strike teams moved into position. We used the geometry of the darkness, moving through the thick scrub brush like shadows given weight. The first resistance came from the perimeter patrol, 2 heavily armed contractors walking predictable routes. They were eliminated not with gunshots, but with the brutal, efficient precision of men fighting for a higher cause. Nomad, our scout, took one down with a length of garrote wire pulled tight, a necessary silence. The other guard was quickly overwhelmed by Scythe and Hammer, who used nothing but sheer force and impact to render him unconscious. We stripped them of their weapons, tied them securely, and moved on. The code dictates that the violence must serve the purpose. Unnecessary bloodshed is weakness. Inside the main house, Vance was in his safe room, a reinforced bunker in the basement complete with satellite communication and a massive monitor wall. He thought he was secure. He had underestimated the resolve of men who live outside the system. Our primary infiltration point was the West Service Tunnel, an old, forgotten septic line that Wrench had identified from municipal schematics. It was disgusting, dangerous work, but the Vultures don't shy away from the muck. We emerged beneath the kitchen, moving quickly into the house's central wiring hub. Wrench, having breached the internal network, initiated the final phase. Instead of cutting power, he did something worse. He rerouted the environmental controls. The lights stayed on, the screens still glowed, but within minutes, the air conditioning system of the entire house began pumping out a highly concentrated, non-lethal industrial sleeping agent, the kind used to sedate large livestock. The effects were rapid and confusing. Vance's remaining internal security guards, groggy and disoriented, stumbled through the hallways, their reflexes slowed to molasses. They didn't even realize they were under attack until Deacon and Gravel, moving through the house, systematically disabled them, often with a simple, crushing blow to the jaw or a disabling lock applied to a joint. We left them breathing, but broken. The reinforced steel door to the safe room was the last obstacle. It had a fingerprint and retinal scan lock. But Vance hadn't planned for an enemy who didn't want to break the door down. We wanted him to open it. Gravel spoke into the intercom, his voice amplified, echoing inside the small bunker. "Robert Vance, your 24 hours are over. We are not here to kill you. We are here to apply the code, and the code requires that you understand your punishment." Silence from inside. Then Gravel gave the final order. "Wrench, show him the evidence." On the monitors inside the bunker, Wrench projected a live feed. It wasn't a video of us. It was a live stream of the Midland County Sheriff and a team of FBI agents surrounding 3 of Vance's security thugs, the ones who had gone to the hospital to threaten Juan's family. We had anonymously called the FBI with precise, irrefutable evidence linking those thugs to interstate racketeering and extortion, including video evidence we'd captured of the earlier threats. Vance's private security team was being dismantled by the law he thought he controlled. Then Wrench played the real knife twist, a video showing the transfer of every legitimate property deed and business account Vance owned, his life's work, into the anonymous trust fund for the victims. We had gotten Vance's signature on a power of attorney months ago, used to finalize a property deal that later fell through. Wrench simply activated the transfer now, making it legally untouchable. Vance, the man who worshipped money, was watching his entire empire dissolve in real time. The safe room door hissed open. Vance, pale and sweating, stumbled out, not fighting, but utterly defeated. He looked at Gravel, not with anger, but with the hollow realization that his wealth and influence were meaningless against a determined moral force that didn't play by the rules. "You took everything," Vance whispered, his voice cracking. Gravel stepped forward, grabbing Vance by the collar. "No, you took everything from families who had nothing. We just rebalanced the scales. The code's ultimate mercy is not death. It is the absolute public destruction of your power base. We didn't call the police. We didn't need to. We placed Vance, unharmed but completely ruined, on the front lawn with a dossier detailing all his illegal activities and the complete legal transfer of his assets. Then, we left an anonymous tip with the county prosecutor detailing where they could find all the evidence and the confessions of his captured security team. As the sun began to rise, painting the Texas sky in hues of red and slate, the Steel Vultures rode out. We left behind a crime scene that would be investigated not as a biker raid, but as a white-collar crime operation, complete with an already confessed perpetrator and an undeniable trail of financial evidence. The law would clean up the physical mess, but we had already applied the road justice. Miles down the road, Gravel stopped and looked back, not at the ranch, but at the horizon. The warning was the grace. His choice was the sentence, he said. The vultures roared their engines in unison, a declaration. We are the outlaws, yes, but we are the silent promise of justice when the system fails. We ride for the code, and the code is the only law that truly bites.